Solving simultaneous linear equations with two unknown, and this one is the example where we will learn how to use the substitution method. Importantly, when we have simultaneous linear equations, we've got two equations, which we also label as 1 and 2, and then in each one there are two unknown. So in this case, it is x and y and x and y. The substitution method is used when one of the variables has a coefficient of 1. So that's really important. If you look at the x and y, you can see that this y has a coefficient of 1. And if that is the case, then we can use the substitution method. So step number 1 is to express that 1y in the format of y equals, and then all the rest must be on the right hand side. So we will use equation 1, 2x minus 1y equals 3, and we will actually change the subject of the formula, which we already know how to do, or we are just going to simply use Gr10 is o, so that we've got the y on its own. Okay, I will start by moving the y simply because it is negative, which then becomes positive on the right hand side. So then I've got 2x equals, I have removed that, 3 plus y. Then I will move the 3 over to that side, which will become negative 3. So on the left, I now have 2x minus 3 equals y. So that is having rearranged this formula. Okay, so this is now the third equation. All right, now you must remember, people, that my second equation, which is 2x plus 3y equals 23, in these cases, the value for x and the value for y is exactly the same. But now it tells you that y, okay, is also the same as 2x minus 3. That's why there is an equal sign. And this y and that y is also the same value. So what I can really do, people, instead of this y, I can substitute that with the left-hand side, which is 2x minus 3. That's why it is called the substitution method. So I will now take my equation 2. I have 2x plus 3. Now, instead of the y, I will actually write the whole left-hand side, which is the same as y. So now I will write 2x minus 3, and I will have substituted the y with the left-hand side. And then we go on equals 23. So importantly, people, we are working with equation 2. I repeat, this y and that y must have the same value. They are simultaneous linear equations. But I also have rewritten that one, and I now know that y has the same value. It equals 2x minus 3. So instead of y, I can write this left-hand side. Okay, so instead of that y, I have written the left-hand side. Okay, and if you now look, then you can see we only got x's. We have now substituted the y with an x. Okay, and now it is a linear equation with one unknown, and we can just simply solve that by using then specifically Gr10 is o, so that we find the value of x. But then, BODMAS people, we've got a bracket, so we must do that first. So we've got 2x, then 3 times 2x is 6x, and 3 times negative 3 is negative 9 equals 23. Now remember, we want to find the value of x. So 2x plus 6x is 8x. And at the same time, I will move the 9 over by adding 9. So 23 plus 9 is 32. And now I can move the 8, which will become divide by 8, and then x equals 4. So I found a number value for x. Now the method is the same as going as we did for elimination. When you have the value of one of the variables, you use either one of the equations that you are given. So I'm going to use the first one, which is 2x minus y, or 1y, equals 3. And in the next step, I will now substitute the x being 4 into this place. So instead of x, I will write 4. That is the number that I have calculated. Then it is 2 times 4 minus y equals 3. So that's 8. I will then take over the 8. It's positive on the side, so it must become negative on that side. So on the left, I then have, careful, negative y left, don't ignore the negative, equals on the right 3 minus 8, which gives me a negative 5. And now remember, we never leave the variable as negative, so we are just simply going to multiply the whole equation by negative 1, which then gives me y equals positive 5. So now I found a value for y equals 5. All right, remember you can do your check. Okay, take one of the equations. I will now take equation 2. 2x plus 3y equals 23. Okay, then 2, instead of x we will write 4, plus 3, instead of y we will write 5, and that should give me 23. If you calculate the left hand side, 8 plus 15 is 23 equals 23, and with that we know that the value for x and the value for y are correct. So I want to just go through again. Number 1 is we use substitution only if one variable has a coefficient of 1. In this case, it is this term. There, y is 1. But because it is not expressed in terms of y, we are going to first rearrange the formula or change the subject of the formula. So we want to end up with something like y equals 2x minus 3, right? You want the y on its own, okay? And all the rest must be on the other side. And then you're going to use the second equation, and you will simply substitute the y with the left-hand side in this case. Okay, so instead of that y, you are going to write the left-hand side. And with that, you've got a linear equation with only one unknown, right? And then you are just simply going to solve your linear equation with one unknown, finding a value for x. To find the value for y, we will substitute the value for x into one of these two equations. In fact, this one we used equation 1 for. Substitute the value of x so that you can find the value of y, and with that you have both values. Finally, you can do your check by substituting x and y into either one of these equations, and your left-hand side must be equal to the right-hand side.